Hello, Pranam, Namaskar. Welcome to Zero Waste Podcast, and I'm your host, Prachi, the Tattvagar. If India succeeds, Sustainable Development Goals will succeed. And if the SDGs are to succeed, India has to succeed. This was emphasized by Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, in his address at UN Global Compact Network India's UNGCNI's 18th National Convention. He said that India is the most populous nation in the world and has the fifth largest and fastest growing economy and is fast becoming the most preferred investment destination. In the midst of global challenges, India's approach to sustainable development shines brightly. Well, after listening and reading these lines, बहुत ही अच्छी feeling आती है when you come to know that a country which is growing is also following its approach towards the SDGs. SDGs, अभी SDGs क्या होते हैं? Well, SDGs का full form होता है Sustainable Development Goals. लेकिन इसके बारे में और जानने के लिए चलिए आज आपको मिलवाती हूँ आदित्य से. आदित्य is working with 3R Zero Waste Foundation Private Limited and ये यहाँ पर कुछ पिछले महीनों से काम कर रहे हैं. He is the manager at the founder's office. He is also a master's in geopolitical and international relations. इसी के साथ आदित्य बहुत ही सस्टेनेबल लिविंग में बिलीव करते हैं. ये खुद भी अपनी हेल्थ पे एंड अपने कार्बन फुटप्रिंट को ज्यादा ना बढ़ाने की पूरी कोशिश करते हैं. एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट एक मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी में रहने के बावजूद आदित्य इज नॉट यूजिंग हिज व्हीकल बल्कि पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट यूज करते हैं, जो कि बहुत ही अच्छी बात है जो मुझे उनके बारे में पता चली. सो आई एम श्योर जब आप वॉक कर रहे हैं, रनिंग कर रहे हैं एज अ हॉबी, आप एक खादा SDG तो खुद ही फॉलो कर ले रहे हैं. वेल, हम SDGs पे फिर से आते हैं. उसके लिए first of all, let's welcome Aditya to Zero Waste Podcast. Hi Aditya, how are you?
Hi ma'am, I'm good and I hope you are also doing great being here and interacting with you and especially talking about SDG goals. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, great. Same here. And हाँ, मुझे आपसे जानना है SDGs के बारे में because listeners जब मैंने आदित्य से पिछली बार बात की थी तो he was very excited talking about these things. So आदित्य हमारे listeners को बताइए ये SDG यानी Sustainable Development Goals आखिर होते क्या हैं? What is your view on it?
Okay. So ma'am, Sustainable Development Goals, which are also known as SDGs, right? They are established by the United Nations, right, in 2015.
Okay.
So these goals actually, represent a very comprehensive agenda, which actually aimed at tackling global challenges. And when it comes to development, it aims towards sustainable future for all. And they are, they are combined and having a 17 interconnected goals. So there are 17 SDG goals, which are going from ending poverty or to hunger, challenging hunger, or to promoting clean energy and gender equality. So they have their own different sectors, different aspects, and they are totally combining of 17 goals. So this is the short definition, or you can say a particular term about SDG.
Right. So when we talk of this sustainable development, it calls for a concentrated effort towards building an inclusive, sustainable and resilient future for people and planet, जैसे कि हमने बात की. And I am sure कि sustainable development को achieve करने के लिए जो हम SDGs की बात करते हैं तो there are 3 core elements: economic growth, social inclusion and environmental protection. So listeners, आगे बढ़ने से पहले I will just take a minute to let you know that there are 17 SDGs which are being released by UN, and like SDG 1 is for no poverty, 2 for zero hunger, 3 for good health and well-being, 4 quality education, SDG 5 is gender equality, 6 is for clean water and sanitation, 7 is for affordable clean energy, 8 is decent work and economic growth, 9 industry, innovation and infrastructure, 10 is reduced inequalities, 11 sustainable cities and communities, 12 is responsible consumption and production, 13 climate action, 14 is life below water, 15 life on land, 16 peace, justice, strong institutions, and 17 is partnership for the goals. So ये जो SDG goals आदित्य हम बात करते हैं, and when we talk about they being followed in a business setup. So मुझे ये बताओ कि why are the SDGs important for a business?
Absolutely. So it's a great question. So, we are into businesses, right? So,
Hmm.
talk about in a sense of business. So, absolutely, these goals, are very crucial, whether it is, creating new jobs, whether it is, let's say, if a particular company is following SDG goals, right? So,
Hmm.
obviously, they are creating some brand value for them,
Hmm.
which actually, create also attract a lot of investors for the
Hmm.
company, right?
Okay.
And apart from following these goals, there is a larger potential in terms of economy, in
Hmm.
terms of making your own business very efficient in a
Okay.
very long term. So this is one of the aspect. And if
Hmm.
you talk about according to Business and Sustainable Development Commission,
Hmm.
then they have stated that by implementing SDG goals, it actually holds a huge economic potential. They
Hmm.
have estimated that around 12 trillion US dollar,
Hmm.
a particular market can be set up out of this, whether it is in
Okay.
food, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in energy or health. So this is the reason why I strongly believe implementing and executing SDG goals are very crucial for particular businesses and for the development.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. So, वैसे भी कहा जाता है कि at its essence, sustainability means ensuring prosperity and environmental protection without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. A sustainable world is one where people can escape poverty and enjoy decent work without harming the Earth's essential ecosystems and resources, where people can stay healthy and get the food and water they need, where everyone can access clean energy that doesn't contribute to climate change, and where women and girls are afforded equal rights and equal opportunities. So जब हम businesses की बात करते हैं, so they have to bring all these things together for a economic development, for the growth of the business and for the individual growth also. तो जब हम ये SDGs के business में बात करते हैं, it is generally said कि for sustainable development to be achieved, it is crucial to harmonize three core elements: economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. My
Yeah.
question basically will be for the environmental protection, since we are on a zero waste podcast. How
Mhm.
far have you observed companies or factories or industries following the environmental protection side of the SDGs? What's your view on that?
Okay. So, ma'am, strategically, my company is, in the company in which I work, 3R Zero Waste, is
Hmm.
operationally in this IMT region, right?
Hmm.
IMT Manasar. And
Hmm.
it's particularly an industrial area
Right.
where there are automobile industries, other industries are there.
Hmm.
So, when it comes to the compliance part, they have some compliance part which they have to, fulfill. And
Okay.
even if you talk about global governance regulations, or maybe our own central government regulations, there
Hmm.
are few regulations which have to be followed. So
Okay.
on a compliance part, it is happening, right? I
Hmm.
mean, they have to follow, so they are on a paperwork, it's happening. But
Hmm.
my major concern is practicality, the ground
Hmm.
reality,
Hmm.
where I want these companies, or even a particular particular setup should be there where
Hmm.
they can work collectively and they can work towards SDG goals, or maybe achieving these goals.
Hmm.
So it can bring a sustainable development. That is one thing. And
Hmm.
I also wanted to highlight few initiative which is taken by the government,
Hmm.
and which the compliance part is happening. So the
Hmm.
first one is national development goal. So
Hmm.
according to this, there's a 5-year plan which actually works in Make in India, right? Then
Hmm.
Skill India, then Digital India is there. So
Hmm.
these actually are addressing SDG targets, right?
Hmm.
And then there's a government initiative long back, which was taken by Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi,
Hmm.
for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? Clean
Hmm.
India Mission. So
Hmm.
it actually targeting SDG 6, right? I mean 6 and 11.
Okay.
So these are some initiatives which are taken by, but actually, what I strongly believe is collective actions. I
Hmm.
believe coming together and working towards this. So yeah, practicality is one of the major area which is my concern, and it should be implemented. That is the thing.
ओके राइट एंड थैंक यू आदित्य फॉर शेयरिंग जो आपने दो तीन पॉलिसीज या जो भी आयोग आपने बताया कि ये ऑलरेडी इन एक्शन चल रहे हैं। मैं एक चीज पे वापस आना चाहूंगी व्हेन यू वर रेफरिंग टू अबाउट द एसडीजीज बीइंग फॉलोड इन योर कंपनी और एनी कंपनी एंड आपने बात की पेपर वर्क की। सो आई वुड रियली लाइक टू नो कि ये एसडीजीज जब हम फॉलो करते हैं, कंपनी सेटअप होती है, एक फैक्ट्री स्टार्ट होती है, एक इंडस्ट्री सेटअप होती है एंड दे क्लेम दैट एसडीजी ये फॉलो होते हैं। What's your view sitting in a market कि SDGs ये सिर्फ पेपर पे रह जाते हैं और have you seen they being getting implemented really?
So ma'am, there is a maybe a personal opinion can be different, right? But what I strongly believe, because I am here in this industrial area, and I really regularly I come here, I go back to my particular accommodation. I there's a lot of pollution here. I mean, industrial pollution is there, and green belts are very less, right? So I think there can be, we can work on in few fields. Let's say creating a more green belts is one of the area, right? And how we can actually reduce this particular carbon footprint in these industries. That can be another area, where 3R zero waste can be a part, right? Where we're the people who are concerned about the climate, who are actually concerned about implementing these SDG goals. They can be a part. They can become a key change maker. So that is one. So ma'am, that is a one area where we should focus, and these industries should also try to tie up with such initiatives.
Right, absolutely right. And glad you shared about this, Aditya, that yes, 3R Zero Waste is working towards reducing the waste in their ways. And जब आप बात करते हैं, आपने लाइन बोली corrective actions, you are absolutely right कि इस तरह के setups, इस तरह की कंपनी की बहुत जरूरत है जो ये corrective actions ले सके, जो कि SDG goals को complete करने के लिए बाकी इंडस्ट्रीज को, बाकी सोसाइटीज को, बाकी इंडिविजुअल्स को, बाकी सेटअप्स को हेल्प कर सके। एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द रेलेवेंस फॉर एनी बिजनेस, जैसे कि आदित्य ने बताया, सो सर्टेनली एसडीजीज आर वेरी हेल्पफुल फॉर एनी बिजनेस बिकॉज दे हेल्प इन क्रिएटिंग अ न्यू मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी, दे हेल्प इन engaging the employees in the company with a purpose because you have some goals to follow. They help in managing risk and assuring the license to operate. They optimize business resources in creating more value and they help you stay ahead in the competition. So agreed कि एक business के लिए इन SDG goals को follow करना beneficial ही होगा, but obviously. ओके सो मुझे ये बताओ कि जब हम बात करते हैं एसडीजीज की एक बिजनेस के लिए, सो जब हम इसको एम्बेड करते हैं, व्हेन वी से दैट एम्बेडिंग एसडीजीज इनटू अ सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस मॉडल, हाउ कन्वीनियंट और हाउ easy it is to say and how difficult it is to work on it. Like अगर मैं बात करूं, आपने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले दो एसडीजीज की बात की, मैं यहाँ पर फोकस करना चाहूंगी एसडीजी 13 जो कि क्लाइमेट एक्शन के लिए है, because Sustainable Development Goal 13 urges to take action to combat climate change and its impact. And हम सबको पता है कि climate change is now affecting every country on every continent. It is disrupting national economies and affecting lives, costing people, communities and countries dearly today and even more tomorrow. So अगर मैं basically बात करूं SDG 13 की, इसका embed होना एक business model में, आपको क्या लगता है कितना सहूलियत भरा है या कितना मुश्किल है, एंड हाउ इज द रिस्पांस अगेंस्ट इट?
Absolutely. So ma'am, there to be very honest, like there are few challenges. I will not say okay, challenges are not there. Absolutely challenges are there, but ma'am, we are a positive mindset people, right? We are a optimistic person, so we believe in opportunities, we believe in tackling these challenges. And this is what we are doing. If you talk about 3R zero waste, then we are actually working towards SDG 9, SDG 11, 12, 13 and then 17. Wow. But we this is a limited area, right? But a lot can be done, right? And as I mentioned earlier about collective action, about partnership, right? So by partnership, I believe we can not even wider our spaces of work, but we can also bring a lot of value to the SDG and to the global sustainable goals, right? This is one thing. Yeah, so this is one aspect. But when it comes to challenges, so absolutely challenges are there because lack of awareness is there, right? and even the motivation is not there. I mean, the government is not providing any subsidies, right,
Right.
to the local individuals, right? If even I'm not sure about how much carbon footprint I am saving for the earth today. Even if I am doing some good activity, I don't know, right? So there should be some initiatives, right, which not only add value to these areas but also bring some value addition, let's say, in terms of knowing about the progress. So once we will be calculating these progress, I think that will be another area to work upon. So yeah,
Right.
that's one thing, ma'am.
Right. या वेल सर आदित्य की मतलब चैलेंजेस ऑफ कोर्स हैं, लेकिन हमें करेक्टिव एक्शंस सिर्फ इंडिविजुअल लेवल पर ही नहीं, एक कॉमन ग्राउंड पर बड़े लेवल पर लेकर आगे बढ़ना होगा. एंड गुड टू नो कि जब आप मुझे 3 जीरो वेस्ट के बारे में इस तरह से बताते हैं, तो इट इज सो नाइस टू नो कि दीज काइंड ऑफ कंपनीज एग्जिस्ट जो हेल्प कर रही हैं बाकी कम्युनिटीज, बाकी कंट्रीज को भी एसडीजी गोल्स को फॉलो करके एक बेटर, हेल्थियर एंड ग्रीनर प्लैनेट की तरफ बढ़ने की. ओके, जैसे हमने अभी 13 की बात की, वैसे एसडीजी 15 में भी एक कोट है कि वी आर ऑल पार्ट ऑफ द planet's ecosystem and we have caused already severe damage to it through deforestation, loss of natural habitats, land degradation, and promoting a sustainable use of our ecosystem and preserving biodiversity is not only a cause, it is the key to our survival. तो जब हम बात कर रहे हैं SDGs की and in numbers की, especially on being on Zero Waste podcast, हमारा ज्यादा झुकाव रहेगा सस्टेनेबिलिटी की तरफ. तो आदित्य, आपने जैसे खुद भी कहा कि आप खुद भी एक सस्टेनेबल लिविंग में विश्वास करते हैं. यू हैव बीन फॉलोइंग अ फ्यू थिंग्स ऑन इंडिविजुअल लेवल आल्सो. तो आपका एक पर्सनल व्यू और एक प्रोफेशनल व्यू को साथ लेते हुए मैं जानना चाहूंगी कि एसडीजीज को लेकर एज अ ग्लोबल सिटीजन आपका क्या व्यू है जब हम बात करते हैं. बिकॉज सी, मैं क्यों पूछ रही हूँ, एक लेमैन को आज मैं मार्केट में जाकर किसी को बोलती हूँ एसडीजीज, पीपल आर जस्ट नॉट अवेयर. जैसे आपने थोड़ी देर पहले कहा, इन्फॉर्मेशन, अवेयरनेस, लोगों को नहीं पता है कि ऐसे गोल्स एग्जिस्ट भी करते हैं, ऐसे गोल्स हैं जो फॉलो करने चाहिए हर इंडिविजुअल को, कम्युनिटी को, इंडस्ट्री को, बिजनेस को. So I would like to have your professional combined with a personal view on these SDGs before we wind up.
So ma'am, yeah, awareness, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the aspect which we can touch upon. That is one another area. But another, when we talk about businesses, right, or maybe industries, maybe institutions, maybe government, universities, private universities, schools, colleges. So these are the areas, where a big, a big plan of execution can be happen, right? Where we can actually implement, where we can actually execute these, SDG goals, right? So this is one of the aspect. But personally, if I will talk about SDG, then I am really very enthusiastic about the SDG goals, because I believe, they provide a very, a greater roadmap for addressing some of the world most pressing challenges right now, right? Apart from that, while I have already worked upon few SDG goals, but I am actually eager to expand my efforts. I wanted to contribute to achieving all the SDGs. I mean, this is one of the personal thing I wanted to do, and I mean, if I wanted to end this, so I will be like to quote one great quote by Mahatma Gandhi. So he said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." So whatever the change we wanted to see in the world, we should first start with our own self. That is my personal understanding, and that is what how SDG can be implemented in a larger space.
Absolutely right and well said, आदित्य. मतलब आप खुद भी इस चीज का एक एग्जांपल है कि इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे जब हम वो चेंज लाएंगे तभी हम उस चेंज को एक बड़े, एक लार्जर एस्पेक्ट पे देख सकते हैं. एंड गुड टू नो, जिस तरह से आपने कहा कि हमारी सोच, एक कॉन्शियसनेस, एक प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन का होना बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज द पाथवे टू द फ्यूचर वी वांट फॉर ऑल, एवरीवन, एंड इट ऑफर्स अ फ्रेमवर्क टू जनरेट इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, अचीव सोशल जस्टिस, एक्सरसाइज एनवायरमेंटल स्टूवर्डशिप and strengthen governance as said by Ban Ki-moon. So जब हम सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं तो ये सिर्फ एक पेपर पे रहने वाली चीज नहीं है, ये सिर्फ एक बिजनेस के लिए ही जरूरी नहीं है. ये हर इंडिविजुअल, हर इकोनॉमी, हर कम्युनिटी, हर कंट्री, एज अ वर्ल्ड, एज अ कंप्लीट यूनिवर्स हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज अगर हमें डेवलपमेंट देखनी है, इसका एक कॉन्शियस एक प्रैक्टिकल एफर्ट देखना है, तो हमें इन सबको एक साथ लेकर चलना पड़ेगा. हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हम सिर्फ कचरे में कागज नहीं फेंकेंगे और पॉवर्टी हो रही है. तो हमें एक इनजस्टिस नहीं देखना है, एक सोशल जस्टिस को, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ को एंड एनवायरमेंट, तीनों कोर्स को हमें साथ लेकर चलना पड़ेगा. एंड एज यू सेड, इंडिविजुअल एफर्ट की बात है, तो जब हम एक ग्लोबल सिटीजन की बात करते हैं, वी सर्टनली नीड टू एक्ट विद पैशन एंड कंपैशन टू हेल्प मेक दिस वर्ल्ड सेफर एंड मोर सस्टेनेबल फॉर द generations that will follow, because this is our moral responsibility. I also feel so. So lovely knowing these information and your views about the SDGs. और हाँ, मैं एक चीज और बताना चाहूंगी कि जब हम SDGs की बात कर रहे हैं, तो ये जो गोल्स हैं, इसके लिए 2030 के एजेंडा तक का एक टाइम दिया गया है. एंड इसका एक स्लोगन हम कह सकते हैं, विच इज LNOB, विच इज लीव नो वन बिहाइंड. इट इज द सेंट्रल transformative promise of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development and its sustainable development goals, which is SDGs. So, well, nice knowing so much information from you, Aditya, from your personal as well as professional view. And thank you very much for joining the Zero Waste podcast. And thanks for coming over and sharing your views.
Absolutely, ma'am. It is really nice interacting with you, and I think even the experience was new for me, but actually it also added value to myself also. And I believe these small initiatives can actually going to bring a larger impact. This is what we can expect. Absolutely.
Certainly, Aditya, very well said. ये छोटे छोटे एफर्ट्स ही हमारे आगे जाकर एक ग्रुप को, एक कम्युनिटी को, एक कंट्री को एक अच्छी डेवलपमेंट, एक इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ की तरफ बढ़ा सकते हैं. सो थैंक यू आदित्य वंस अगेन, एंड थैंक्स फॉर शेयरिंग योर व्यूज ऑन जीरो वेस्ट पॉडकास्ट. सो लिसनर्स,
Thank you.
आज के लिए इतना ही. जीरो वेस्ट पॉडकास्ट विल join you again with more motivating, inspiring and sustainable stories. आज के लिए इतना ही. थैंक यू, प्रणाम, नमस्कार, बाय बाय.